of a dying world. I was bestowed with an insurmountable task. Bring peace after decades of death, persecution, and chaos. I am a grandchild of war, destined to help two camps which hate has fueled for far too long. Surprisingly, I am not alone. Have an odd bunch to make the road a little more bearable. Come with me, to bring hope where there was despair, respect where there was resentment, creativity where there was destruction. I am Pinocchio, and this is my story.
It's Flip City Magazine, The Parodies, Special Edition, with savage send-ups of The Walking Dead, Star Trek Picard, Stranger Things, The Mandalorian, Guardians of the Galaxy, and more from the first 4 years of Flip City. Get Flip City The Parodies free when you subscribe in print at flipcitymag.com. The world's best satire magazine, and never, ever woke.
I don't know why, but you are watching the Madness Comic Network. Are you mental?
And now for something completely different.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be different. This is going to be the second episode of one of the newer shows, obviously, second episode, one of the newer shows on the network called What's Your Issue? This is a guest-driven show because one time a guest said to me, Pops, you don't let anybody talk much, do you? So today, John, you get to talk, bro.
I have to say, I was talking with people on my channel for a while, and then my wife said to me, "You got to let your guests talk more." It's just common when the camera comes. I think it's nerves, excitement, too much coffee, or maybe it's a box of fresh donuts that we just went to the bakery to pick up. But one of those, it's whatever combination. It's just human nature, I guess, for the host of to talk too much. So I'd like to think that I'm getting better at that show.
It is kind of funny because I've had people say that in the past, but then sometimes it's like, sometimes I'll be interviewing somebody and they start asking me questions and they turn it around on me, you know what I mean? And then before you know it, I'm talking about all the stuff we're doing. And it's like, I got
Well, whenever anybody asks you a question, just say, I was born in a middle class neighborhood.
You had to do it, didn't you? You had to do it, didn't you? You know, I have a very special ad that I have to play today, that I want to play today. I didn't want to play at the beginning of the show because I didn't know exactly what direction you were going to take the show. But have you seen one of the newer things that RJ is doing?
Which RJ? RJ from the Fourth Age or RJ from Critical Blast?
Critical Blast.
Oh no, what's he doing?
Little President Trump sandbox. It's a Trump book for kids.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of not into like topical political comics. They're dated 6 months from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All that work, and then what? And then say he doesn't get elected. Then what do you do? You got a stack of comics. You know, like when I go to the comic book store and I see like Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or you know, Mitt Romney comics, I'm just like,
how many of them did you actually buy?
None. What? None of them.
Bought Space Force.
I didn't even
buy Trump Space Force, but that's the only one out of all those.
I'll say this: the only politics in my comics are made up politicians that resemble nobody. They're just, you know, they're right. Characters, just like Norman Osborn isn't Elon Musk or whatever. You know right. What I mean? Yeah, so yeah, I had the first issue of Heroic Tales debuts up the origin of a bad politician who's going to be a major villain, but he's not anybody in particular. He's just the politician.
Right. I bought the Space Force book because it actually has a list in the book of all the people that were originally in Space Force.
Okay.
So it was like a historical kind of, you know.
See, that's a little different. I'll buy a historical comic. Like if they made a comic book about like Neil Armstrong landing on the moon, right. I'd buy that because that's history. You know what I mean? Like I got the Mother Teresa comic that Marvel Comics made, the Pope comic that Marvel Comics made, and the St. Francis. First off, my mom made me get them because she was religious, but glad I did. But I'm not going to get like a Obama with laser beams out of his eyes flying around. You know, I just find that to be so goofy.
It's the same with the Kiss comic, right? The original Kiss comic. I didn't buy it.
I got the original Kiss comic because I was a Kiss fan. But I tell you, politics ruined Kiss for me when I see Gene Simmons. Yeah. You know,
same thing.
Off his big ugly face. You know.
Yeah. Same thing.
I haven't listened to Kiss since Gene Simmons. What did he say? Screw your freedom.
He said, "Fuck my freedom." That's what he said. He
did.
He said a bad word. Look.
No, he didn't say that. He said, "F your freedom."
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So I literally haven't listened to Kiss since.
I mean, I was a fan too, just like you, right?
Yeah.
But the only reason I bought that comic book didn't have anything to do with art or story or anything. It had to do with the fact that they put their blood in the ink. It was unique. I was a collector. That was weird. I'll take that. You know what I mean? But it didn't have anything to do with the art or the story or the powers that they gave him or any of that. You know what I mean? It's like they're rock and roll band. We got people watching. We got Zach Tan. What's happening? And Gordon Goodbrother. What's up, brother? In the chat. It's all action around here. So, John, we have to get right on past the pleasantries. It is good to see you as always. You did say you're going back to work, right?
Yeah. Most likely next week is my last week off.
Cool. What is up, End of Zed? What's happening? So then what are you going to do? You're going to work I mean, obviously you're going to have to cut down your online presence a little bit.
Yes, obviously. Yeah. I'm going to go back to what it was. If you remember June, go back to June. I recorded videos about comics. I'll go back to doing that. And then I still have, like, Wednesdays I do a talk, and then I'm on RJ's channel for RJ from Fourth Age So I do 2 videos, and then Fridays I'll still do my live It's Clobbering Time, and I'll schedule live chats when I can. But I'm going to be a little light on the live talks because I don't know if I'm going to be going back, and I don't know which job I'm going to be. It's construction. Right. I've been away for 3 months. I'm probably not going to go back to the same job because they filled my slot, you know. So who knows where I'll go, and who knows. For all I know, I could go say I'm available for work and I could get laid off. You know, I don't know. So I'm not going to make plans, but I do know that there's overtime on my old job. So if there's overtime on my old job, I got to work it because I got to make up for all the money I lost, you know, being out of work. And then I probably won't be able to do live chats for, you know, a while until the overtime is done. And if that's the case, I'll do a lot of pre-recorded videos.
Yeah, and we talked about that. We may have to be doing a few more of those even in our network, just because of starting to. Some people, a lot of people want to do the Tuesday, Wednesday show because cons, right? Stuff like that. Their weekends are taken, right? So they want them time slots on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we're running out of those. You might have to pre-record your show and we'll put it somewhere else. You know what I mean? It's like we're running into that situation a little bit. And that just means we're growing. I'm not complaining, you know. So what's your issue, John? What are we going to talk about? What are you going to talk about?
I would like to talk about my comic book, Heroic Tales, is being printed. Hold on, because if I was professional, I would have grabbed these. But I got the proofs to my comic.
Oh, beautiful!
Here's all the various covers. You know, the insides are perfect. The outsides, you know, I got these. You know, I call this one the daddy cover. You know, this was the back cover. People like this image so much that they were asking for it to be on the cover. And then, you know, this is the Pat Broderick Fund My Comic exclusive cover. These are all still available. If you go to Fund My Comic, you could still get this. This is the Mike Gustovich cover. As of right now, this is only on Indiegogo, but this is still available right now. And I overprinted these because I have a feeling that people are going to be like, "Oh man, this is the proof." This you like the proofs. This is the Michael T. Gilbert cover.
I like that. That's some retro. That's retro.
This is definitely retro. This is like an homage to a Superboy comic, you know. And then this is the standard cover, the Renzo cover. You see, your comic will not have these stickers. You know, this is just a proof with the lot number. You know what I mean? So if I had to do with this comic, I could, you know, this is the account number of this particular comic. So
I have some.
You can see there was a problem. You see how there's a black line up here?
Yeah.
You see on the back, it's a full bleed. The art goes all the way to the edges. On this, see, when I saw the digital proof, I didn't notice it.
Right.
But when I got the physical proof, I noticed this. So I was like, oh, I can't send that out. You know, the line doesn't quite get to the edge.
Right.
It just looks so amateur. You know, people will tear you apart. And I was like, I can't do it. And then I noticed this. Again, for whatever reason, the dialogue and the captions and the thought balloons and the sound effects did not come out on this page. So I must have inserted the wrong file without the lettering. And this was important. Like the story works without it, but what he's thinking was he's doing this to me is important for you to understand how his powers work. Like I set up that whole scene so you can understand the differences between him and Superman. You know what I mean? His powers are vastly different. Yeah, I already spoiled it. The patriarch has telekinesis rather than super strength. So physically, he's a well-built guy who exercises and eats right. You know, at top of his shape, but he, you know, you shoot him in the chest, he's gonna die. You punch him in the face, you could knock him out. You know, as much as you could knock out a guy who's been lifting weights for, you know, and exercising, you know, whatever, keeping himself in top shape. But that totally is really, and I think it sets up what happens later on in the particular issue. So I was like, I had to pull it, and I called up Luke Stone, who did my pre-press, and he was able to swap out the right thing, and it only delayed it for 2 hours. It took him 2 hours to fix it because he was if he was home at the computer, it would have taken 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I didn't notice it on digital. It just shows you old timers like me. I can't pay attention to stuff on digital.
See, here comes Glenn. You put it all on one page and you don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Glenn is a very traditional. He puts the sound effects, the words, everything on the paper that, on the page that he's drawing. It's like,
but there is no physical page. Renzo does it on computer, sends it to me, and then Daniel colors it on computer. So I have files. But the problem was on this page, you see he's flying into space.
Mm-hmm.
Renzo added these panels, and it just shows frost forming. And I didn't include, so I only had 3 panels on this page, and then Renzo added these, and I thought it was a really effective the way he added this. So the colorist didn't have any guides to color these, so he put red marks like he was being burnt. And I was like, no. He's getting cold. He's flying it. He's leaving Earth's atmosphere. He's developing frost. So the colored page with the red actually got lettered, and this never got lettered. But I swapped it at the last minute. So I messed. It was just a miscommunication. No harm, no foul. I mean, that's what the proofs are for. Thank God for proofs.
I encourage everybody.
I don't disagree with you, Glenn.
I encourage everybody to get proof copies of their books.
Yeah.
And then after you've looked it over, you send one to Pops. I actually have quite a few, John, that people have sent me over the last few years.
Yeah, I was wondering what to do with
their books. I love that, man. I love collecting those.
All of them have this black line on the top and on the right. But again, I didn't notice it on the digital.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like collecting, stuff like that. I tell people, it's like, hey, damaged book, like RJ. I'll tell RJ, hey, if you get any damaged books, man, it's like, shoot me one. I don't care if it's damaged or not. I can promote it way better if I have it in my hand.
Make us the same size. I can't stand looking at myself this big.
I can promote it way better if I have it in my hand. You know what I mean? It's like then to just tell people about it. If I can show them, hey, check this out.
Zach says, I love the T. Gilbert one. That's my wife's favorite. And you know what? If you're not a comic book guy, I found out all my friends who aren't into comic books love the Michael T. Gilbert cover the best because they're all my age. They're all in their 50s. So when they think of comic books, they go back to their childhood and they see like Silver Age stuff. So they just love that cover. But all the comic book people, I got to tell you, man, you guys are missing out on the Michael T. Because I only sold like 6 copies. It's on Indiegogo. I learned from other people's mistakes and myself's mistake. So I think I made a mistake with my campaign. I launched on Fund My Comic, which I'm staying with. Fund My Comic is my home. Luke has been instrumental in making my comic come out. Mm-hmm. He's been helpful with the format, with my actual comic, just so he's done stuff that Indiegogo and Kickstarter will never ever do. So I got to get a shirt. So I'm staying on Fund My Comic. But what I did was I thought this was clever. I went on Fund My Comic and I had a Pat Broderick cover. Then I went on Kickstarter and I had a Michael T. Gilbert cover. And now I'm on Indiegogo and I have the Mike Gustovich cover. On all 3 sites, you could get the Renzo cover.
Right.
Well, the people who were excited and wanted to back me all backed me on Fund My Comic, and nobody's looking at the Indiegogo. So I think I shot myself in the foot. Had I put all the covers immediately on Fund My Comic, I think I would have sold more of the other 2 covers. You know what I mean? Like the Patrick Broderick cover sold a lot. It sold equally on so I think a lot of people would have just gotten 4, and nobody wanted to spend $30 on shipping between 3 different. I mean, I would have combined them. Just let me, like, I'm going to make a note before I start shipping. If you backed on multiple platforms, let me know. You know what I mean? I'll make it up to you with
combine it. Or combine the shipping, you can do that, right? Just stick them all in one package.
Well, that'll save me money, but they still paid for it. You know what I mean? So I got to give them something.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you backed on Fund My Comic, you paid $10 shipping, and you backed on Kickstarter, you spent, that's $20 shipping. I'm going to put it in one box. There you go. I got to either reimburse the money or give them something extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do. So I'll try to so if anybody back me on 2 different or 3 different sites, let me know and I'll try to make it up to you, or give you credit on whatever you want. We'll work something out. I'm not a bad guy.
And there is a lot of
but
people.
That's what I'm going to do. So issue number 2, I'm going to make a bundle deal with all of the covers because I overprinted because I this is going to sound arrogant, but it's a good comic. It's a really good comic. I dare say it's one of the better crowdfunded comics, superhero comics, and it's getting good word of mouth. The digital files are already out. If you back digitally and you didn't get it, reach out to me at johnslongbox@yahoo.com, and maybe it went to your spam filter, but the digital fulfillment has already been done. So the people who read it that I don't know, like if my family, they all think it's great, whatever. But if you're a guy that just backed it, I've been making a thread on Twitter of all the people who like it. I know, you can't say anything about the art. You can't say anything about other than it's excellent. It's the art, the coloring, the lettering. It's impeccable. I'm just, the only thing that you can criticize is me, my writing. So
hey, this is something that a lot of people don't understand. I do editing, or I do proofreading, right? Not editing. I don't take a hand in somebody's creation, okay?
Right.
But I will go proofread and say this punctuation's off, this word spelled wrong, or if I see a sentence that just doesn't make sense to me, I'll ask them, what's the context to this, or are you sure this is what you mean to say? But it's it's not taking a hand in their creation. I refuse to do that, because what I'm proofreading in book 1 might have some shit that relates to something in book 6 that I don't have no idea about, right? So
right.
I can't come to you and go, hey man, this don't make sense, because you're thinking in your head.
Right here, page 1.
Page
1. There's stuff on this page already that's going to be paid off around issue 7 or 8.
You see, that's what I'm saying. I mean? So,
but it doesn't interfere with you not. You could. This is a one and done.
Right.
But like old time Marvel, it rewards the continuous reader. It rewards the long time reader. I'm trying to copy Marvel. I mean, I made no bones about that. This is a return to Bronze Age comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you bought Spider-Man 143 and that was your only Spider-Man comic, you got an enjoyable comic. I'm just picking numbers at random.
Right.
You got an enjoyable comic, a complete story, whatever. But if you bought Spider-Man from 100 to 200, that issue 143 was probably a little bit better because you knew who these characters were. You knew the subplot paid up. So that's what I'm trying to do. I have like a story that's going to culminate in issue 10. That's my goal. If I can make it to issue 10, it's that's when the team is going to form. So, this comic is, I want to show this because this is, such a great cover. Well, they're all great covers, but this is the one on Indiegogo that to me is underperforming. This is Mike Gustovich, classic artist from Justice Machine. I think he also did Justice League, and he inked. He's still inking now. This guy is so good. But what I was going to flip through it and give you a spoiler, but there's 2 stories in here: a complete patriarch story, and then a complete short story called The Suit. And The Suit is the origin of a villain who kind of goes by the name of The Suit. He's a politician. He's the mayor of Science City. He plays a bigger part in issue number 2. But you can enjoy it. You can enjoy the both, the complete, whatever. But if you get every issue, you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's why that's happening. Like for instance, here on the back cover, you can see his wife has scars. I don't mention why she has scars, how she got scars, anything about this, but you'll learn about that somewhere around issue 3. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm babbling so much, I'm not even listening.
That's all right. One person. You remember I talked to you about Laughing Rogue, Slaughterville?
Yeah.
That's this guy right here. That's
okay.
Chris. Okay. Definitely, you guys got to hang out. You're both into games. You're both into comics. You're both.
Cool.
I mean, it's definitely something you guys should probably do a show together like you used to do with Kelsey. You know, just throwing it out there. Yeah, but Glenn Timescales was thinking the same thing about the proof issue that's got the unintentional error in it. You know, that's one of the reasons I like to collect proofs, is because there's probably something that's going to be changed when it goes to print.
Yeah,
and I like to have that proof copy. You know, I've got some novels that are proofs. I've got, you know, I like that stuff. That's me. You know, and yeah, Stan Lee's team were the masters of the subplot. They definitely led you up to what was coming very subtly. They
I'll
did
tell
great,
you that there's a complete story, and you don't realize. Well, one of them's kind of obvious, but there's, you know, where'd you get the scars? There's another character. What's this character's story? You know, what's going. So I'd say there's about, in the Patriarch story, there's about 4 subplots. And I think you should know. The only subplot that's obvious is like, why is she scarred? You know what I mean? That's an obvious story that you need to know. But there's other things I don't think you're gonna recognize why it's a subplot. But I don't know. But okay, that's what I'm hoping.
You say that's what I was saying. Sometimes, like when you're proofreading stuff, you won't really understand what the writer is saying, because it might be leading a subplot going forward that you don't know nothing about. I don't know what you got going on in issue 5, 6, and 7. I'm just proofreading issue 1. You know what I mean? So
and I will say that when I first wrote this comic, I told the story a few times. It was just world building the comic.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriarch was just one out of, I'm not even joking, must have been like 38 characters. Because I just wanted everybody to see, look how cool my world is. Look how good this story. And a friend of mine, Brian Bow, said, I don't care about any of these characters. And because of that, I don't care about your story.
Right.
You know, and then I selected, he's like, just take one of these characters and tell their story.
John is trying to push scarred people as the new beauty standard.
More truth than you know about, because issue 2 debuts Mary Sue, who has a prominent scar. And it was funny, when I was at Comic-Con on Saturday, I was talking to this female editor, and she was like, I really like your comic. I really like this idea. And I was showing pictures. I said, she goes, are you working on an issue 2? And I said, oh yeah. And I showed her the cover to issue 2. And it prominently features Mary Sue, and Mary Sue has a scar on her face, and she just looked at me. She goes, do you have a problem with women? I'm getting the cover. I'm going to show you the cover. But I was just like, oh, I didn't even think of that, because the 2 main women have scars. I'm like, no. You know, I said, Patriarch has scars too. It's just they're covered by his costume. Excuse me.
Glenn says he has the yellowing handwritten pages of a book he wrote back in 1976. It's worth about 50 cents.
Cool.
I am glad to know that you do plan on carrying the story on, though.
Because, yes. I have the plots to 20 issues, and I have the scripts written for 10 in various forms. Some of them are complete, some of them are just vague outlines or whatever. But I could go on forever. The rookie mistake that I was gonna make was that issue 2 was gonna not have the Patriarch. It was gonna be all Mary Sue, and then people were like, but I like the Patriarch. Like, the comic didn't even come out yet, and people like his look, they like his costume, they like his. And I realized I was making a Richard C. Meyer mistake, where you make the Jawbreakers and then follow it up with some crap that nobody cared about. I said, you know what? I got to learn from other people's mistakes, and I decided that the Patriarch is going to be the flagship character. He's the guy that's going to be in every issue, but there will be so there's going to be a 22-page Patriarch story every issue, and then the second issue will have like a 15 to 20-page story of another character, because I'm trying to introduce the team. And when But like I said, it's gonna be a flip book, so there's gonna be 2 covers. You're gonna have the patriarch, and then you flip the book over, and it'll have Mary. And I'm scrolling through this to try to find Mary Sue, since I mentioned her, and it's I can't.
I just want to say, John, that I appreciate the fact that you made a comic book that shows a strong male figure, a family man, somebody who cares about and protects his family and all the things that's right with masculinity. I appreciate that, bro.
Well, that was completely on purpose. I was like, I got so annoyed of all of these people, like toxic masculinity, you know, and here I am, a construction worker, waking up every day, jumping in a hole in a pit, whether it's snowing or hot, you know, and I'm like, I don't see any women around here, you know, not to be mean to any of the women, but like, there's a couple of girls on my job. What are they doing? They're holding the flags where the trucks are going. You know what I mean? Like these pipes are 150 pounds. We're jumping in a pit. We got to spin him really fast before the backhoe comes back. We got to, and you don't stop. It's, right. You know, so, and then these guys are coming home and they're coaching Little League, you know, and some of these guys are doing it. So I was just like, I want to make a comic book about positive masculinity. So I was like, what is the stereotypical masculine things? I'm like, obviously fatherhood, you know, obviously a husband. And then I'm like, he's going to be not perfect because that's boring, but he's going to be like a good example of everything. So he doesn't cheat on his wife. He doesn't beat his kids. To him, the best day in the world is him coming home and spending time with his wife and kids. He can't wait to do that. Matter of fact, issue 4 is going to be a story where he just spends the day with his kids, basically playing Dungeons and Dragons, you know, with his kids. They call it Dungeon Crawl for legally distinct reasons, you know. And that's ever is him just sitting home with his 7 kids. One of his kids is the dungeon master, you know, and then the story is going to be their adventure, but at the same time, it's going to reflect what he did the day before as a superhero. So there you go. But that's what he wants to do, because before he got his superpowers, he was kind of a nerdy guy, you know.
Right.
And it's funny, before he got before he got his, well, he was married when he got his superpowers, but like his wife rejected him. She was too good looking for him, and he was nerd, you know. I don't know. I like the character, you know. And it's funny. I'm getting excited now, but he got his powers in public, so he has no secret identity. Everybody knows he's James Kelly, you know, and that's part of the reason why his family's so far away, you know, and living on a farm, because super
isolated, self-isolation.
Just imagine if the Joker was real and knew who Bruce Wayne was.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, so it's a dangerous superhero world. Yeah. I like I said, the superheroes are good. In issue 3, I'm going to explore the idea of the anti-hero, with the character that's my Batman type. So he's gonna so I didn't realize it, but like so far all of the characters are like spins on fatherhood or maleness. Like I guess the cat's out of the bag because people got the digital copy, but the main bad guy in issue 1 is a nerdy little scientist who got picked on and is now lashing out because, you know, he's an incel. And I didn't realize, like, here we got the patriarch who's the Chad and his villain is the incel. That, you know, but at the same time, the patriarch isn't mean to him. Like you'll see how he deals with villains. He doesn't use their superhero names. Like he keeps saying, Roland, you know, you can't do this, Roland. You're gonna get like he's a dad. Dads don't want to come in and start spanking. Dads want to come in. You know, you can't stay up till midnight eating ice cream. It's a school night. Like dad doesn't just kick open the door and start beating. So that's the way he treats all the villains. And then issue 3, he meets my Batman character. No, issue 4 they actually meet up. I'm getting them up. Issue 3 I introduce him in his own story, and then issue 4 there's the Batman versus Superman team up, and they actually fight, and there's gonna be a reason why they fight, and I'm hoping that there's stakes. Like, oh, this is a real fight. This this has to happen. But just imagine you're a superhero and you're going through a horrible divorce. So that's the other guy. So he got too obsessed with being a superhero. He neglected his family.
Right.
You know,
right.
so
you
now
see the other
I didn't realize when I was
side of the
making the
coin.
character, I'm like, these are all aspects of like fatherhood and maleness.
Yeah,
But
you
not
see
all of
the other side of the coin that way.
Yeah, so this is the anti-patriarch. You know, the patriarch is all goodness and light, and the other guy is all violence and you know, why having a character like Batman or the Punisher, well, not so much Batman, but like the Punisher in real life would be kind of scary.
Mm-hmm. Now, I like what Glenn says here. He said he's going to DM me a submission for that book. It concerns Jackie Kennedy, Jackie Onassis, JFK's wife, right? I actually have a book called Badlands, which has them on the cover in the car that he died in. You know, it's like that's on the cover. He's in the crosshairs and shit. So I'm very interested in that, Glenn. By all means, send that to me. Crazy stuff, man.
Okay, I found it. I've been looking for this the whole time, and then I'm like, oh yeah, just go to the regular. But this is the cover to issue 2 by Renzo.
Whoa, there it is.
And can I make it bigger? Oh yeah. So if you can see, Mary Sue has this scar on her face.
Yeah, up here. Yeah.
So when I showed that, this woman was like, "Do you have a problem with women?" I'm like, superheroes are cool. They got scars. And she's like, I noticed the patriarch doesn't. I'm like, yeah, well,
hi, pup.
But that's the because Mary Sue, if you know the character, the name Mary Sue is a name for like a character that's perfect.
Yeah, it already knows
my
all the
whole point
lore.
is that nothing is perfect. So she's beautiful, she's powerful, she's smart, but she's got this scar. So flawed perfection.
I just got attacked by a munchkin dog.
Oh, okay.
Attacked by a munchkin dog.
Levi Skeed says the biggest reason I don't watch TV shows anymore is lack of respect for the dead. Yeah, to the point. I mean, I started noticing this trend in the I forget when that show Malcolm in the Middle came out, but Malcolm in the Middle. At this point, I was like, wow, they're not making fun of the dad. Like Malcolm in the Middle to me was the first time I really started to notice there was a problem because they didn't make the father look like an idiot. Like the mother was a pain in the ass in that show. And a lot of times it was mom and dad teamed up against the kids. Like the one episode that made me realize was they built a shed in the backyard and they turned the shed into like a tiki bar so that the husband and the wife could spend time alone together, and they would, it got carried away because it's a sitcom. Like they were giving the kids punishments for anything just to keep them so they could go to the shit. But I was like, wow, here's a husband and wife that don't bicker, don't hate each other, want to actively spend. So, and then when did this start? And I realized like the Cosby Show, I know there's problems with Bill Cosby, but when we watched the Bill Cosby Show, anytime Claire Huxtable and Bill were alone, they were sweet to each other. But anytime a third person entered the room, Claire Huxtable just emasculated Bill Cosby to the point, like, if you take away the Bill Cosby, take away the real worlds and you watch that show, it's unwatchable now. Like I watch Family Matters. The father's a jerk. I'm trying, but like when you watch the Brady Bunch, the father wasn't a jerk.
Right.
When you watch, Make Room for Daddy or all those like up to the 70s, mid 80s, and then somewhere it became the father's. So I was like, I agree with Levi. I wanted to make a comic book where the dad, and don't get me wrong, it's not like he comes home and he orders his wife around. They're a partnership. He can't do it alone because and she can't do what she does without him. They love each other. They are partners in every sense of the word.
I gotta go let this puppy out real quick.
I can keep talking nonsense.
Yeah, just keep talking.
I'm gonna scroll up to the top of the chats, and I'm gonna.
Oh shit! What's up, Dave? How you doing, brother? It's like a Marvel DC crossover event.
Yeah, I would address if I had the lettering on the physical page. Yeah, I would love the physical pages, but I don't interfere with the guys I work with, their creative processes. You know what I
I'll
mean?
be right back. Talk up to the peoples. Talk to them.
I would love to get physical. I would love to get physical, but but whatever. I agree with you. I think it would be less problems, but then there's always that chance of Renzo mailing stuff to me from Mexico and not getting it. I mailed him a stack of comics for reference, and it took 2 months to get them, which is why there's not going to be any Renzo signed comics unless I could physically bring him here to New York, which we didn't do well enough to do. Gordon Goodbrother says he's looking away. A cold leaving the atmosphere, but hot entering the atmosphere. Yes, but he's not zooming through. He's speeding up because time is of the essence. And when he comes down, he's a little bit more safe. So he's not going to burn up on the way down. What else? Pops. Okay. I hear a lot of people are leaving Indiegogo and Kickstarter for Fund My Comic. Me personally, I had no problems with either platform, but I had such personalized, great service on Fund My Comic that it was, the story that I tell is I have this coin, and of course now, I had a coin made, but the coin didn't show. The coin literally showed up the day I was launching the comic. So I had a computer generated image of what the coin looked like. And you could tell it was a computer generated image, but I didn't have the coin. The coin took forever. I misjudged how long it would take. The day the campaign, I uploaded the actual picture of the coin. And because of that, it had to get reapproved. So here it's 2 hours before launch. And it says waiting for approval. And, I'm like, well, I called up Luke, I just want to point out, I had his phone number. He's having lunch with his family, and I'm raving like a lunatic. I'm about to launch it up. And I can hear the dishes clinking. I can hear people in the background talking, and Luke's like as calm could be. Okay, how's everything? And I'm like, what the fuck are you chatting with me for? Let's fix it. He goes, John, it's fixed. That's how quick it went. And so that's the first of my raving lunatic calls to Luke.
That was one of my selling points one of the reasons that I endorse and recommend them is if you have an issue, you get a human that helps you deal with it. Right. You don't get the AI and the maybe we'll email you later. And you know what I mean? It's like a human handles the issue. A human approves your project.
Not only a human, but the human, the guy who's in charge.
Yeah.
I had a problem. I set up my Stripe wrong, so I wasn't getting my payments. And I couldn't figure it out. I called Luke. Luke was on the phone with Stripe. And we were on a 3-way call for I'm not even joking, 2 hours. And we got it all fixed out. Luke handled that, and then I'm trying to think. There was another instance, but I don't remember what the detail. But I'm saying if I had a problem with payout on Indiegogo, I never would have got paid. Because who do I call? Who do I call?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I don't think I was shadow banned. I wasn't campaign bombed or whatever like Cecil. But why would I go anywhere else? And I am of the opinion, if people want the comic, they're going to go there. Nobody told me, oh, I'm not going to Indiegogo to buy your comic. And if that's what they thought, they just didn't tell me. I mean, I only got 11 sales on Indiegogo anyway. But so I'm just going to stay on Fund My Comic. I might do a Kickstarter, second chance on Kickstarter once the Fund My Comic is closed with all the same exact stuff. Because let's be realistic, Brian Bauer just did $10,000 on Wolf and Batsy on Kickstarter. So I don't want to leave money on it. That's no disrespect to Luke. And Luke understands the business of it.
Hold up, point this out too. Previously, Wolf and Batsy was on Indiegogo.
Right.
Under Samedi. It wasn't even sold on Kickstarter before. So to do that well going over, it shows that your fan base is going to follow you.
Right. So he was with Samedi on Indiegogo. Then he went solo and he did Fund My Comic. And I think he did $7,000. And then he went Kickstarter. See, he's experimenting. Every campaign he's not sure what he's. But if he's doing $10,000 on by himself for one issue, But then again, the comic is wonderful. It would succeed no matter where it goes. So I was just like, I'm just doing fun my comic, but I gotta make money, guys.
That is something I'd like to break down.
To make a comic. So
that is something I'd like to be able to break down on campaigns. It's like, he made $7,000 on Fund My Comic. How many of those were catch up?
Yeah,
because that's like book 11 or 12 or 13.
Yeah, he's doing 13 right now.
Yeah,
and of course,
so some people were buying. Yeah, some people are buying past issues and whatnot. I wonder how much was actually that book, that issue.
A lot. A lot of it was issue 13 because I think most of his fans are caught up. Of course, there are people who bought catch-up tiers.
I'm freaking way behind because I quit using Indiegogo. It's like Indiegogo was shadow banning people in our network.
Yes, absolutely. I thought I thought I was because I was doing so bad on Indiegogo. I just think with my small fan base, they were all my fans were eager and did it right away. And I should have put all 4 covers on, or all 5 covers right away on Indiegogo. But I learned. So I will make a catch-up tier with the covers. I'll make a bundle on issue 2. So issue 2 is the make or break. If I could get the same, and I'll continue. But you know what I mean. Like I took a beating on issue 1, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's like people that come out here expecting to make money on the first issue, they better have some superstars and huge promotion. This is like what? Yeah, look, Levi got it right here.
Right.
Creators drive sales to the sites. People like me drive sales to your sites. I do a show on occasion that actually goes through Fund My Comic and shows everything that's in there for sale, right? I don't see anybody doing that on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or anything like that. It's like I got
no help, from Kickstarter, Indiegogo.
No. And Fund My Comic is something that, because it is built by comic people, right. It's just comics. It's not lawn chairs. You know what I mean? It's like, so comic people can get behind it. And, I mean, I do see a lot more, what do you call it? Inner promotion. I see a lot more people that care more about it seems like they care more about their book after they've put it on Fund My Comic than they did when they put it somewhere else, promotion wise.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just because they're excited for a new platform or.
Well, I look at it as, if you got good burgers, I'm going to your store.
There you go.
I understand there was this political commissar nonsense with Kickstarter years ago. The shadow banning really, really bothers me on Indiegogo, but it was my first comic, so I was experimenting. But I'm happy with Fund My Comic. I'm going to stay with Fund My Comic.
Yeah.
I will not be using Indiegogo going forward. It was, it was more trouble than it was worth, and even when I was fulfilling, it was the most difficult to work with to get the information to, like I go to Fund My Comic, Pops has a digital. I just clicked, copy, pasted, put it, pop up. It was Indiegogo. It wouldn't let me copy, paste. I had to physically write down everybody. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Everything about Indiegogo was difficult. I was not happy with it. And then they add a $6 tip automatically.
Oh yeah, that was fun. The first time I caught that. Where'd that extra $6 come from?
Right. and it's not easy to get rid of it.
No,
so
you have to go find this. Yeah, you have to go find it. Put no tip.
I like what Genuine Comics says.
Damn,
attacked over there.
Dogs coming in.
Genuine Comics. That's Dave Brink. He has a great comic. I absolutely love it. As of right now, it's the best superhero indie comic because mine isn't. Well, mine's out. So me and Dave have the best 2 superhero comics in Indiegogo. But he says, what did he say? We all take a beating on our first books. Yeah. I'm being I'm being facetious for funny purposes, but I almost broke even. But the thing is, I can't blame the comic because I made a lot of mistakes. I did things the expensive way. Like issue number 2 should be, I didn't know what I was doing when I started issue number 1. Like issue number 2, I know what I'm doing. I'm hitting the ground running, and I don't. It's like a lot of logos I don't have to pay for. I already know which artists I could work with that I'm not just going to pay in advance like I did for a couple people, then never hear from them again. Stuff like that. So I bought a printer to print out shipping labels. I don't have to do stuff like that for issue 2. And if issue number 2 does really well, I'll just have RJ do the fulfillment.
And this is another thing that I encountered recently. Did you? I got this book, right, from somebody who made, a lot of money, and it came in a Gemini between 2 pieces of cardboard, no bag, no board. I'm like, if you make that much money, buy some bags and boards.
Oh, I'm bagging and boarding in every comic.
Well, I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking.
I'm just letting you know. Right? I'm bagging and boarding because I got trading cards. I'm going to slip the trading cards. Everybody gets a physical comic. It's 4 free trading cards. So they're going to go in the Renzo cover.
I just couldn't believe that I got a book from a big time guy that didn't come in a bag and board. And I'm like, if you have a problem with fulfillment or whatever, and you can't afford bags and boards, have RJ fulfill your campaign.
Yep.
He'll handle all that. Okay. Yeah. Do not send people books that's just flopping around loose in a freaking Gemini, man. Don't do that. Just don't do that. I don't care who you are.
Every one of my books is going to come bagged and boarded like this.
Yes.
Here's a comic. Yes. I'm going to stick the trading cards in the back of like, one of the comics, so they'll be nice and safe. And then if you order this coin, there's like 2 flaps. I'm going to tape the coin. The coins come bagged, so I'll tape it inside. So if you do order the coin, make sure you check your box for that. Also, I didn't even tell people. I just got a wild hair. Everybody for free. Anybody, they get 2 stickers. I didn't even announce this little thing, sticker mule. So
put them up closer to the camera. Let me see those. All right.
I'm having such a difficult time. There you go. So that's the patriarch symbol. This is the heroic tail symbol. So I don't know. I'm having fun with all this stuff. Of course, I got plenty of the heroic tails pint glasses, and you can see it's got the patriarch symbol because he's a dad. Dads like beer. You know what I mean? I'm not going to make a Mary Sue pint glass. It doesn't seem to fit the character. I
see it, Glenn. I see it. I'll get to it later. I'll check it out for sure. Levi, bitching. I'm getting free stickers.
Yeah, people like. Marcus has a good point. Marcus says, although Eddie is doomed, should go to Kickstarter as well, since Tonic Ball does well over there. Yeah, I might as well mention that, since I'll bring that up. But why isn't it loading?
Because
that's the picture with the typo. See, believe it or not, I catch mistakes sometimes. But Marcus brought up this, and I might as well bring it up. So I'm already, I'd say we're about a third of the way done of issue 2 of Heroic Tales already. And I started working on a side project called Eddie is Doomed. And Tonic Ball is going to be drawing Eddie and Eddie's story, and Oscar Carano is going to be drawing the superhero story. So it's 2 stories that are intertwined. It's Eddie's a comic book fan who he's a 35-year-old, not a bad guy, just selfish, self-obsessed. He's the stand-in for all comic book fans, the stereotypical. He lives in his father's basement, and Dad's a retired police officer, and Dad wants to retire to Florida. And now Eddie says, how could you do this to me? Because Eddie has the perfect life. He got a job as at a supermarket when he was 15, putting shopping carts away, and he just because he just went to work, he's now the supermarket manager, and he just whatever's the easiest way to get through life. He collects comics. Oh my God, does he collect comics? So now he's got the perfect setup.
This is the kind of guy I want to interview.
Oh, Eddie? Yeah.
You see, he's a comic book collector. He's like me. We'd have stuff in common. but he can tell me about this world that he lives in.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That's Eddie. So
kind
Eddie
of what-
is just, his world is shook. I have to move. For the first time in his life, he's inconvenienced. You know, and how could you do this? He's mad at his father. He goes to the comic book store, and he commiserates with the owner of the comic book store, and the owner of the comic book store goes, "Well, here, you got to get this. You got to get Doomed Earth. It's the new comic from Top Comics." And he's like, "What is this?" And it's Doomed Earth is tired of Premier Comics selling more comics than them. They're tired of being number 2. So they're going to be more like Premier Comics. They're going to get rid of Earth A and Earth B and combine everything and have a brand new continuity. And Eddie is just like, what is this? Like, he cannot deal with the fact that they're ruining his childhood. They're ruining his continuity. So Eddie is doomed. His real world is changing and his comic book world is changing. So this is Love and Rockets meets Crisis on Infinite Earths. And we're going to have 2 artists. Tonic Mole is drawing all the real world stuff, and Oscar is doing all the top, as I call them, the top 10. It's, you know, the 10 greatest superheroes from Top Comics. And we have so much fun designing these characters that we're already planning a sequel to this. And we, you know, but because I want to tell the origins of the top 10 Silver Age, origins of the top 10 Golden Age, you know. I can't. This is so much fun. This is a perfect example of a project getting out of your hands in a good way. It's like taking on life of its own.
Yes.
Because me and Tonic Mole and I were on a panel show with somebody, and somebody said, "Oh, you know, why don't you make good books?" I said, "I never thought of it. I was thinking about making the worst comic book in the world, like, you know, and it would be about a comic book collector who has to move out of his father's basement." I just said it as a joke. And then Tonic Mole just goes, "That's the greatest idea for a comic." Mm-hmm. And then we started talking about it. And a throwaway line is turned into something I'm so excited about. Look at this cover. That is, somebody says, awesome Kirby Crackle.
Yeah, it's great.
And you know what's funny? Because I wrote a 22-page script, and it's all Eddie's story. And then I just was like, I kind of mentioned the superheroes. And then I got Oscar to, I was like, you know, you want to make a cover? And he's like, well, send me character designs. And so I scribbled out character designs because they were throwaway characters, you know, with silly names that are too silly to be taken seriously, like Phenomenal Man and the Captain Arachnid, you know, and things like that. So I said the Robot Gorilla, you know, these are all like supposed to be goofy Silver Age DC characters. Mm-hmm. And Oscar fell in love with them, and his designs were so good that he started telling me their stories. So 100% these superhero characters are created by Oscar and myself. You know, the Patriarch I created, but all of these characters.
Isn't it crazy when something just snowballs downhill on you? Dude.
So now I'm rewriting the script because the superhero story has to be a spectacular story in itself. So Eddie's story is already written, but now I'm writing another 20. So this is going to be like 50-page one shot. You know, and I want to have the stories intertwined. Like, I want to have it so, like, one page, there's going to be 3 panels Tonic Mole draws, and then 3 panels Oscar draws. And I'm toying with the idea of Eddie's life being in black and white, and then the superhero being in super crazy 4-color, you know, to really make it Love and Rockets meets Crisis.
Right.
You know, so I got to talk with Oscar and Tonic, and so
I got to take a shot.
I asked Tonic, give me back the script. You know, he already started. I said, give it back. We got to start all over again.
I got to take a shot at Jim right here. Jim, yes, your issue with Pops is he's too nice of a guy. I get it. Actually, the show is a guest-driven show. What's your issue? Whatever you want to talk about, whether it's a comic that you bought or a comic that you're reviewing, or a comic that you wrote, or a world issue that pisses you off. It's a fan-driven show. So whatever a guest-driven show, whatever the guest wants to talk about, that's the issue we're going to talk about. That's how the show rolls.
There's a couple of good comments over here. First off, Levi says, that's a great idea, John. Thank you very much. I can't take all credit. No disrespect to Renzo, but Heroic Tales, it's all my ideas and everything like that, you know, but it wouldn't happen without Renzo, you know, and Renzo is instrumental, but this is a collaboration. I wouldn't made this if Tonic Ball didn't encourage, and then it wouldn't. I don't think it would be as good if Oscar didn't design such great characters. So this is just a collaboration between 3 creators. Absolutely, it's 100% me. It's 100% Tonic Ball, and it's 100% Oscar. In a weird way, that's 100%, because everybody's instrumental. You can't take one of us away without this comic. And Tonic said, he goes, this is going to be important. And so now the pressure's on me. I'm really tweaking the writing on this. But so Heroic Tales 2, I'm hoping to launch February. And then when that's done, then I'll launch Eddie is Doomed. Because I don't want to follow up Eddie is Doomed. I want to strike while there. People seem to like Heroic Tales. I want to follow up with Heroic Tales and then do a side project. The other comments I want to address is Matthew Cricky says, I wrote my own superhero novella because of a joke. You never know where inspiration is going to come from. Logic Finest says, nice Kirby hand on the cover. The fingers are turned down instead of flat and spread out like Kirby, but it's a very nice homage. Yeah. Well, that's the Doom Keeper. He's the main bad guy. He's, toying with everybody. He's toying with everybody.
Yeah, everybody likes it, man. Logic's Finest jumps in, liking it. Hoping everyone's doing well. We all hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah.
Lola says, you suck. I don't know who Lola is.
I don't know if it's me or you. Who sucks?
Lola's not on my channel. She's on your channel, so I hope she likes you and she's just kidding.
Oh, well. Sorry, Lola. Marcus says you're supposed to kill all your characters in the first issue.
Yeah. Yes, Jim O'Reilly, my friend.
Jim O'Reilly's a great talent.
This is fun, John. I'm kind of glad I decided to do this.
For sure.
Have you been allowed to get it out today? I ain't been talking over you too much. Right?
No, fine. I was wondering if I was talking too much.
No, that's the whole point of the whole point of the show was so you guys can come out and talk about whatever you want. I'm just gonna hang out and pop the comments up here, basically give you guys the podium, so to speak.
So here, since I'm spoiling, this is the cover to the Patriarch story in Heroic Tales #2. This is drawn by Jose Garcia. So what I'm going to do is I'm kind of toning it down. Next issue, I'm going to have the Renzo cover, the Renzo edition. So it's going to have you already saw Renzo's version of the Mary Sue cover. He didn't draw the Patriarch cover yet. And then I'm going to have the variant cover with Jose Garcia doing the Patriarch, and then you flip it over, it's going to have Josh Howard doing Mary Sue. That's not ready yet, or I'd show that. So there's only going to be, instead of having 6 covers, or 5 covers rather, like issue 1, I'm toning everything down for issue #2. So, and I'm going to launch them both on Fund My Comic, so you'll get a bundle deal for 2, if you want to get the A cover, the B cover, and then I'll have a bundle deal of all the variant covers for issue #1 for a catch up, whatever. But this is issue #2. That is the Subterranean. That's the bad guy that is dealing with the Patriarch in a rather mean way. The name of the story is Subterranean Homesick Blues. And that just picture the Mole Man meets the Hulk. That's Subterranean.
Now, this is one thing that Dave and I always talk about, because in the Big 2 you see a lot of that. You see a lot of the superhero laid out, unconscious, baddie standing over him. It's not a good look for your hero. I'm just saying. You can show him getting hit, but don't show him laid out like he's done. And we make fun of it because they do it a lot. Okay, Marvel and DC, there are hundreds.
So don't show Ben Grimm getting punched through a wall?
No, I said getting punched is one thing, but laid out unconscious makes it look like well, come on. That's not a hero. They're going to fight. They're going to get hit. I just don't want to see them knocked out, laid out, looking like they're dead. You know what I mean? It's like Marvel and DC do that all the time. And it's like, come on. It's just not a good look for your guy to be
We'll see what
unconscious
Renzo
on the
draws.
cover seven episodes of the year, right?
The covers I don't like to tell. I'll tell the. I don't like to tell the artist what to draw because that's like, go nuts, guys. You know. But the only thing I'd like to say is make sure it's representative of the comic.
Yeah.
You know, and the only one who didn't listen to me but did whatever they wanted was Michael T. Gilbert. But I'm not going to tell a legend you can't draw that. And he liked the idea of the ants. He liked the idea of the father. The only thing I asked him to do was he had the robot ant, and he's like, I'm going to do like a picnic motif, like kind of, you know, he's kind of known for humor with
right.
Mr. Monster is kind of a tongue-in-cheek poke at superhero comics. So that's the kind of feel that he was going. So that scene does not represent anything that happened. There's no picnic in the comic. The ants do not, you know, have lemonade or whatever, but I'm not going to argue with Michael T. Gilbert. The only thing I asked him to do was include the wife, you know, put girl in peril kind of motif.
Now, I do got to say hi real quick to our viewers on Rumble and our viewers on Pilled. And
cool.
Thanks, Maven, for the cookie. Look, we're all over the place now, John. We're not just the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter anymore. We're going out to other platforms too. So the problem is the StreamYard isn't synced with the comments. So I kind of like have to monitor the comments on these other platforms as well.
Matthew Creek says, go to Barnes & Noble in Springfield tomorrow. Going to sell some copies of my superhero-inspired novella, Beacon, the Hero of the Heartland.
Mm-hmm. Right
Issue 2, there's going to be a superhero called The Beacon. So don't sue me. It's already in the works. Why is the patriarch a beautiful woman in this panel? Dinosaur. And then, so you read issue 4 already? How did you read issue 4 already?
Just imagining a conversation.
I asked Renzo, what do you want to draw after for? Because issue up to 1-3 are set. I have to tell these stories in order for things to make sense. There's a little bit of wiggle room after that. So I had a bunch of issues, and he told me to bump this story up because it has sexy women and dinosaurs in it, and that's what Renzo wants to draw. So
okay. You don't tell your artist what to draw. You let them draw.
I'm excited to tell all this. My only problem is I'm limited by my funds. You know, unless the next couple of comics do gangbusters, I'm limited by my funds, and I want Renzo to draw the stories. You know what I mean? So that is the funnel neck. You know what I mean? But you know, if I hit a stretch goal at issue 2, I'm going to bring Ron Masicki back, and we're going to do an Unheroic Tales. So as of right now, issue 2 is a 22-page story and a 15-page story. So that's 37 pages. I have a letters page, and I have a couple of pages of ads. So we're talking 40 pages. But I'll go another 10 pages if I hit a stretch goal. And I know you were trolling, and it's not really a troll if I agree with you. I would love to have physical, you know.
It's always good to see you, brother. Always good to see you, Glenn.
One of the things that I realized was I got a panel and I just didn't like it, you know. And there was like 6 panels on the page, and one panel was driving me crazy. And it's really the only time I asked Renzo to redraw anything, you know. So, but I'm like, do I have to pay him again? Like, what's the procedure? Because literally, Renzo, he sends me roughs, and I'm like, that looks great, and then he inks it, and it's almost like he's picturing my brain. I'd like to think that maybe my descriptions, because I do panel descriptions in the script, send them to him. I like to think that maybe they're cohesive enough or whatever, and he understands, or maybe we just work well together. I don't know. But this was the only time I wanted to change something. I'm like, I was up all night going, oh man, can I live with this? Can I live with this? I know it's not going to be 100%. So I finally just said, can you change this? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then 15 seconds later, it's changed. I'm like, how'd you do it? He goes, oh, it's just 3 taps. And I didn't know what he meant. But it took me a while to understand. It was digital, just 3 taps and erased one of the layers.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. So now, you know, now I'm not afraid to ask him for changes, but I haven't had to ask for any changes.
Well, that's one of the...
says Legend has its John Burns doing the cover for number 3. Oh my God. John Burns, you know, if I was to say that John Byrne was doing a cover, I think even Renzo would be like, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
You know,
Give him the A cover. Give him the A cover.
but he said, "Can I do the cover?" And I said, "Of course you could do the cover." And I felt a little bad. He says he never gets to do the covers to his own comics. I'm like, you're the best artist. You're the best artist I know. Who's not letting Renzo do the covers?
Interior artists should always do the A cover.
Yeah,
always.
Absolutely. Like I said, I want the cover artist to be the same as the interior. I hate that bait and switch, especially when you have a crap interior artist and they rope you in with a good cover.
Yeah,
that infuriates me. So I, Renzo's doing the interiors. Renzo did the cover, but I also did variant covers. Because they sell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys here, but I'm but I can't afford to get legendary guys next cover.
Well, I mean, it's like if this book makes enough money, you can buy them for the next book. That's one thing, but you have to be into that profit margin.
Right.
You got to actually get to the point where you're making money before you can even start thinking about financing book 2, any part of book 2.
Right. I'm just getting some stuff to show. Like I got these cards made. I got 7 cards. You guys are like some of my business. And other guys were telling me to do this too. But where are they? So I made 7 trading cards for this issue. And only 4 of them got unlocked. So, you're gonna get a Patriarch card free. And then on the back it has his stats for Villains Vigilantes, a role-playing game. So if anybody buys this game, you could use this card and play the Patriarch. You can find out exactly what he does. This is Boss Moxie, and on the back, same thing.
Villains and Vigilantes. Is that the one that Richard Dury was promoting?
Yeah. Who?
Richard Dury.
I don't know. Jeff D was one of the creators, but I don't know who Richard Dury is.
I think he was on my show talking about it.
No, I don't know. I don't know the person. This is Maul, and then her cards, and then this is the last card that came. This is Dame, and her stats. But I still got 3 cards that didn't unlock.
Well, you got to put them on the next campaign.
So the next campaign, I already got 3 cards, so I'm saving it. But the next campaign, between the Mary Sue story and the Patriarch story, so there's the bad guy, there's Mary Sue, there's the bad guy in Mary Sue, there's the bad guy in Mary Sue, there's the bad guy in Mary Sue, and then one of the things that Mary Sue, she's a scientist, and she's hired to find out how superheroes are created, where the superpowers come from. So there's kind of like the Watchmen. There's going to be screens with all the superheroes. So there's going to be like 12 screens. So there's 12 cards I can make, right? So there's going to be a whole bunch of cards I can. So my point being is I'm already 3 cards up for next issue. Maybe next issue I could sell a pack of 7 cards to make up for it. Again, this is how the sausage is made, but this is what you got to do. I already put in my order for card coins for Mary Sue. I'm obsessed with coins, so I'm making coins for every character. So here's Heroic Tales, and then the Patriarch symbol. I just put in the order for the Mary Sue, and then I made these challenge coins, which I didn't even sell yet. So these will be on the campaign for next issue. So but I'm not doing the pint glasses for Mary. It just doesn't make thematic sense. Mary Sue, she's not a beer drinker. She's perfect. She's a good girl.
She's not a beer drinker.
That says, do you guys ever call it V&V or VNV? Both are fine. But V&V is Villains and Vigilantes, is a role-playing game that came out in 1982.
80s? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second edition came out in 1983.
I think Bill Willingham
did
2 stories, I think, in the original.
2 modules, 2 supplements for it. He did Death Duel with the Destroyers, and the Destroyers became the main bad guys in his comic book, the Elementals. And then he did the island of Dr. Apocalypse. And Dr. Apocalypse was renamed into Lord Saker, and he became the main villain in the Elementals.
Yep.
I'm going to do a video maybe next week with all the Villains Vigilantes modules. And I've been playing this game ever since. Me and my buddies play. I use the rules. I play it like a fantasy game, like a Dungeons & Dragons game. We were going to play this weekend, but one of the guys had to bow out, so we played board games instead. But we still play. We still play Villains and Vigilantes.
We do. We have fun. You got to have fun, people.
Yep.
Life's too short. Let your inner kid have his way sometimes. Have fun. That was look, we've had some things that have really blown up. Like we played Slaughterville on the network and created a couple characters. Lori and I created characters that ended up kind of taking on a life of their own.
Yep,
and
that's
how
the way
they host a show. The characters host a show. John, you got to come on, Killer Karen, bro. Lori is the ultimate Karen, and I'm me. I'm Dante. It's so funny, dude. It really is. We have such a good time taping the show, and then but it's two characters that we created in an RPG game, and now they host a show on the network.
I was thinking about what you said about never, you show the character all beat up and defeated. It's not good. So you want to share this? This is literally the first image of Mary Sue. This is the first panel splash page.
Okay, but that's not the cover. I'm just talking about the cover. They're always
you guys see the origin of the scar on her face.
How confident can I be in the hero if he's always unconscious on the cover? You see what I'm saying? But this is in the book. See that?
Or
that
Mary Sue.
That's in the book. That it's supposed to be there. And but yeah, it's not that it's to me it's kind of lazy art to just always, like, when they do it so much that it's constantly just the heroes knocked out on the cover. It's like, come on, there's other parts of the book, guys. That's not the eclipse. That's not the highlight or the climax of what's in the book. Your hero being knocked out on the floor is not the look you want to give on the cover. I'm just saying, it's, I just never got it. It's like, come on. Have the hero standing over the bad guy and the bad guy half unconscious. That's what you want to see, right? Of course, in your case with the patriarch, he'd probably be talking to dude and trying to convince dude to chill before I have to wrap you up.
Pretty much.
And that's hero trait.
That's one of
hero trait.
It's no secret that I love Superman, and I wanted my first character to be like an homage to Superman. And like, if you read Kingdom Come, it's despite what you may think about Mark Waid, it's an excellent comic with an excellent story and an excellent point where, like, Superman is literally the father of all the superheroes. In the real world, he's the first superhero, and we get the word superhero from the name Superman. I don't even think there was the word superhero before Superman. We said mystery men, we said whatever, and then Superman came out, and now we say superheroes. And in Kingdom Come, Superman retires, and he's not paying attention to the media. He's just working on the farm, and all the younger superheroes grow up without a role model. They grow up without a father figure, and they become brats, and he has to come and smack them into good behavior. So Superman is he's definitely the inspiration for the patriarch. So one of the things I like about Superman is he doesn't go like, if Superman was to just show up and beat the crap out of everybody, he would be scary. Like, do you want your dad to just kick open the door with a belt to beat the crap out of you because you have your radio too loud? Dad talks to you. That's what Superman does. So I try to play on that. So that's kind of one of his weaknesses. I like Marvel weaknesses. I like psychological weaknesses. I like logical weaknesses. Like Ben Grimm's weakness is he's depressed and you know, emotionally damaged from what happened to him. You know, Spider-Man's weakness is not the color yellow. Spider-Man's weakness is his responsibility and guilt. You know, I like that. Like, again, I always goof on Green Lantern, the color yellow. You know, it's just so goofy. So one of Patriarch's weaknesses is he's a dad, and he expects the best of you. He wants the best from you. He gives you a chance to live up to it. You know, so
Yep, exactly.
so sometimes as he's lecturing you, he'll get sucker punched in the breadbasket, and he's on the cover going, "Oh God, okay, I can't talk to this guy."
Yep, yep. Now, see, Logic's finest agrees with me. On the cover,
Well,
you
they
can
got the Renzo
knock through a
cover.
wall.
I didn't see the Renzo cover. The Renzo cover will be outstanding.
You know, you can like knock him across the solar system, but never on the ground, beaten down by the bad guy. You know, I mean, yeah, we want to understand the bad guy's really powerful. Okay, punch dude through a wall. We want to understand that this is a real fight. This ain't no, but don't have dude laid out like he's already beaten.
Unless you want to pay for a new cover, that's the cover.
I'm just saying, it's like, to me, it's always, even as a kid, I was like, why would I want to buy a book if the dude that I'm supposed to be cheering for is already beat down? The first comic I ever bought was Defenders 10. You got Thor and the Hulk on the cover. Ain't neither one of them getting beat down.
Right.
That got my attention, right? This got my attention. This is badass. These guys are fighting. I never understood the mentality of selling your guy getting beat.
Any other ways you want to prevent people from buying my comic?
Oh, dude. I can't help it if that's my cover choice. You know, it's like that's one of the things I do like about variants is you do get different artists' idea of something that they saw in the book that they want to highlight, right? I do appreciate that part of the variants because we get a different artist's view of it. That's a personal thing. Damn, man, it's like it was too much. It's a problem when Dave and I do the show offs and we go through a box of books and you see 4 or 5 covers out of 10 that look like that, you start to go, dude, isn't you know? It's like, and this was old school Marvel, the stuff I bought. You know, old school DC, the stuff I bought. The stories were great. I just didn't get the marketing aspect of the cover. You know, it's like, but hey, John.
Yeah. That to me was the biggest insult in all comic book because we all knew he wasn't going to die. I'm trying to think how old I was. What was that? 1989. I think I just graduated high school, and even then I knew this was just a gimmick. This was just I was resentful. I did not buy it when it came out, and I was hardcore into Superman, and I was like I'm not contributing to such a blatant
Yes, exactly.
What's the word? Disingenuous money scheme. Like
it's a money grab.
When they did the 1-800 number to kill off Robin, I knew that it could have real consequences because it was the Jason Todd character. Nobody cared about that character at the time. He wasn't interesting. The fans didn't really like him. So I was like, okay, this character can get killed off and they'll get another Robin. So I was like, as much as I thought that was distasteful, I understood that there'd probably be lasting consequences. But the Superman story, I'm like, this is just a cash grab. It was the first time that I could remember knowing it was a scam before it even happened. I've since bought it because I'm such a completionist, but I was like, I figured 2 years later I could go in the back issue bins.
Go buy them for $1. Yeah, that's what I do. I go back and buy them for $1.
But I was so mad. And I will say this: if a character dies in my comics, they're dead.
And that's what we.
Not above that, the building blows up and they turn around. And, well, I guess that's the end of Dr. Evil. And then 6 issues later, Dr. Evil's like, I didn't die. that's comic books. But I'm talking about if it's understood that it's a death, the character's dead.
Yeah.
There's no multi. Well, there are other dimensions, but there's not the common belief in a multiverse. In my comics, if you go to the next dimension over, it has a different set of laws of physics. So there cannot be another patriarch because all the infinite variables that led up to that moment are so different. Like you might not even recognize that you're on an Earth, if there is even an Earth. Because what if this cosmic collision never happened back then? Again,
Right.
I'm getting too metaphysical, but
No,
I have like all these. Because if you're doing a superhero comic book and there's magic and there's, spaceships and warp drives, you got to have like a universe at some form created. And the way I do it is there's no other Pops. There's only one Pops. There's only one John's Longbox. If John's Longbox is dead, and if not that there is a spoiler because I don't even plan on doing it. If the patriarch dies and you see another guy calling himself the patriarch, it's a trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a scroll or something like that. But I don't have that plan. I don't have that.
I've never look to see. One of the things that bothered me was when they started doing the non-canon stuff, but they didn't tell you it wasn't canon until afterwards.
Right.
Because if you liked it, then they were like, "Oh yeah, we're going to figure out a way to make this canon." If you didn't like it, then they kind of scrubbed it off to the side, right?
Right.
As the fans,
Like the Dark Knight Returns, that was obviously in Elseworlds, but then they were kind of the same with the Killing Joke.
Yeah,
the Killing Jokes was an Elseworlds, and then it did so well they incorporate. I never thought about that, but you're kind of right.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of what if going on.
Oh, it didn't work. It was just an Elseworlds story.
There's a whole bunch of what if going on right now. And I mean, in everything. Okay, Star Wars, all of them are doing what if stories and hoping that they catch. Right? Star Wars
What are you talking about? There's only 3 Star Wars movies.
The Star Wars made me mad because I was a fan of the extended universe. I read all those books, right? And they introduced Thrawn and they introduced Mara Jade, and Luke ended up marrying Mara Jade and having a kid. And that was all cool. And they should have just left it alone because now they're realizing how cool Thrawn was, but they can't bring back Thrawn with Mara Jade because they screwed the whole timeline up.
When?
With the movies. With the
only 3 movies. They were all waving with the Ewoks. That was the last thing that ever came out with Star Wars.
It's the
right. Star Wars. What was that? 1986. They were waving with the Ewoks. We said goodbye to Star Wars, and that was it.
Now, see, I was a reader though, John. I read all them books because I wanted more. Right. Rogue Squadron, Wrath Squadron, X-Wing Squadron. Those were the books they should have made movies out of because they had everything, some espionage,
some
space battle.
Too bad they never made any movies after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it was horrible, wasn't it? It was just horrible.
Potential, but 3 we have. Star Wars is great. 3 Star Wars movies. That's it.
See, I go 3 Star Wars movies and all the extended universe. And they added 6 movies and a few crappy books since then.
You keep referring other Star Wars movies. There's only 3. There's only 3 Star Wars movies.
You blocked it out.
just like when Star Wars Enterprise ended, it was a shame. They could have made another Star Wars series after that, but they never did.
It's horrible.
And then when Peter Capaldi died in Doctor Who and they ended the show, oh man, oh well, it was a good run.
You see, the new series, like Logic says, it's character and name only. It's completely different in every way.
I liked Doctor Who up until Capaldi. I liked Capaldi as a doctor. I thought that he was given bad material, but I can't fault him for the bad material. And then he died, and Doctor Who is over. I will say this: issue 4 of Heroic Tales has the best Doctor Who story ever made. It's my response to Doctor Who, and I'll say it has sexy chicks and dinosaurs. The name of the comic is "Let's Save the Dinosaurs."
There you go. There you go. Best Doctor Who story ever. Keep that. Remember that, people. We're going to clip that quote. We're going to clip that quote so that we can hold on to that for posterity.
Yep.
Right? John, it's been about 90 minutes.
I know.
Before we cut this thing off, I have to ask you, is there anything we didn't cover that you want to talk about? Because
Can I show the trailer to my comic?
oh hell yeah! You not only that, but you should probably send that to me.
Uh,
You know,
I
can't
gotta-
I can't play it if I don't have it.
Okay,
You know?
that's a good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna make it big, and then I'm gonna hit play. I have to say that was made by Kyle Prometheus. He just sent it to me one day. I thought I absolutely love it. The other trailer that I used was made by Phantasmagora Girl. So they just do so good. Yeah, I'll thank you, Grey Wolf. He says that's a cool promo.
Yes, I like it. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
It invokes The Incredibles, which is the greatest superhero movie ever made. The
Yes.
first one.
Yes. And the music. You know, my doctor called right when you started playing that. I'm sitting
Yeah, the doctor called. He checked your MRI. They found nothing.
No, surgery scheduled for the 8th.
Yeah,
But
you
I
don't
got to
get to do
do
it.
probably some pre-test type stuff. So they're calling me ahead of time. They finally got the surgery scheduled though, John.
That's been the joke in my house. I got an MRI next week,
Mhm.
and I'm like, the doctor's gonna go and tell me they found nothing. Ta-da, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Well, I went in the hospital on March 23rd, right? And they told me I have a hiatal hernia. 8 months later, when I go in for my consultation for surgery, what do you think they told me? They
What?
said, you have a hiatal hernia. I was like, no shit. We've known that for 8 months. Why did it take this long to do something about it?
Yeah, I had hernia surgery in February, and then I broke my neck in July. I've been in the hospitals a lot lately. It's
Damn, John.
next year, no hospitals. That's my plan.
We get old and we don't realize it. We just keep doing what we do and we pay for it.
Yep. Yeah. It's been a hospital heavy year, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I'm tired of doctors for sure. So I got surgery on the 8th. and
Which is
hopefully
why
I'll be
Which
done.
is why, in order to make it so that I don't go to the hospital, I'm going to eat 12 donuts fresh baked this morning. So
Donut. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what I found out, John? I found out that chicken and donuts is better than chicken and waffles.
it's funny. I'd never heard of chicken and waffles until about 2 years ago. Like my friend's wife, she's Dominican, so I just assumed it was a Dominican thing. I'm like,
That's a
chicken and
southern
waffles?
thing.
And then all of a sudden, it's everywhere. Chicken and waffles. There's a chicken and waffles place. It's a dirty little hole in the wall. It's maybe about 2 miles away from me, and my mouth waters when I drive by. I guys, if you take nothing from me, one thing is that dirty hole in the wall places have the best food. You know, you could go to a nice clean place, you'll get good food, but a little dirty hole in the wall is always the best.
So you know those raised sugar donuts? They don't have powdered sugar. They just got regular sugar on them. Yeah, raised donuts, powdered or raised sugar donuts. Just regular donuts, right? Man, drop a chicken breast on there and pour some syrup on there and go to town. You will be glad you listened to me.
Breakfast food is my favorite food. I don't know. I could eat eggs, bacon, and sausage and breakfast burritos for every meal.
Yeah, we didn't have no waffles, and I was like, but we had donuts. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this then.
A waffle is basically a donut, right?
Pretty much. It was good. I'm just saying. I got to get to work, John. I got other stuff to do. It was great talking to you as always.
2 other talks later today. So today at 7 o'clock, I'll be talking to a Rob Hunter on my channel. And at 8:30, I'll be doing It's Clobbering Time, Spider-Man versus Batman. I got a lot to say about that. We need to address the problem with the Batman fandoms. Batman can't beat up everybody with prep time. And Batman's not the only one who's allowed to have prep. Spider-Man's allowed to make plans too, you know. But enough said about that. All right. See you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey, I would definitely get with you again soon because we're always going to have more to talk about. You know that. Everybody who watched over on Pilled, on Rumble, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Love all you guys, man. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back. We'll be back again. Count on it. Peace.
Little president in his sandbox play, build a tower, make it stay. Digging deep through the golden sand, building the future with your hands. Tiny suits and shiny shoes, making plans and making news. Friends all gather to join along, in the sandbox they all belong. Little president from that play, every day a brand new day. Learning, growing your own way, in the great big sandbox that is the USA. The USA. Share your dreams with everyone, sandbox fun under the sun. Big ideas taking flight, with Little Trump everything's bright. Dig a moat, build a wall, in the sandbox he stands so tall. Dreamer dream, builder build, Little Trump your heart's fulfilled. Little President Trump that play, every day a brand new day. Learning, growing your own way, in the great big sandbox that is the USA. Hooray, hooray, for the USA.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands.
Have a good night.